Paraguayan Electoral Court announced ruling party candidates Santi Peña as winner of presidential elections. In Ukraine, former Minister Nikolai Azarov denounced NATO for sending his country obsolete or faulty weaponry to further its own agenda. And in Sudan, warring sides announced a new extension for the truce for 24 hours, while the country's health system faces a critical situation as a result of the conflict. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Heidi Maurel from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Paraguay's Electoral Tribunal declared the ruling Colorado Party candidate Santi Peña as winner for the nation's presidential elections 2023. According to the electoral institution, after more than 90% of the votes counted, the Peña Alliance ticket received 42.75% of the votes, while the running-up formula that Alegria Núñez from the new coalition for Paraguay got only 27.48%. On third place, with 22.93% of the votes, was the candidate for far-right National Crusade Party, Paraguayo Cubas. The president of Argentina and Brazil, Alberto Fernandez and Lula da Silva, respectively, as well as Paraguay's sitting president Mario Abdo Benitez, were the first heads of the state to congratulate Santi Peña and his running mate Pedro Alaena for their electoral victory. The president of the Superior Court of Electoral Justice, Jorge Bogarín, thanked the citizens for their participations in the elections.
Before 8 p.m., being 7:55, and having been scrutinized more than 90% of polling stations, we are able to say that our trap system gives us as a result what you are seeing on the screen. Simply thank you. Thank you very much to all. Have a good night.
Presidential candidate for the Colorado Party, Santi Peña, addressed the nation after winning the presidential elections and ratified that he will not let the people down.
Let us forget about the fatalism that we are doomed. We are the owners of our own destiny, of our future, We are not going to let you down.
Likewise, former presidential candidate Ephraim Alegria said after the election results that in spite of their efforts, they did not achieve the goal they had in mind.
We have made an important effort to unite all sectors to make a change, and today the results show us that our efforts may not have been enough. Although it is true that the majority of the Paraguayan people voted for change, the division has made it impossible for us to achieve the goal of making the change that the most Paraguayans are demanding.
On Sunday, civil president of the region spoke out via Twitter on the occasion of the general elections in Paraguay and expressed their recognition of the new president-elect Santiago Peña. Argentine President Alberto Fernandez joined in the congratulations in a telephone call to the new president-elect and wished an excellent future for the brotherly Paraguayan people. For his part, President Lula da Silva also hailed Santi Peña's victory at the polls, wishing him good luck in his mandate and insisted on the importance of strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries and continuing the work for development, prosperity, as well as unity in the South American continent. Luis Arce, President of Bolivia, congratulated the brotherly people of Paraguay and President-elect Santi Peña on his victory in an election that reaffirms the strength and democratic maturity of Latin America. He stated that he looks forward to continue working together for the benefit of the peoples and for the regional integration. Likewise, Gabriel Boric, President of Chile, congratulated President-elect of Paraguay, Santi Peña, for his triumph and all the Paraguayan people who participated in the elections. He highlighted the need to continue working together to strengthen relations between their countries and all of Latin America. The President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, will begin a 3-day official visit to Spain on Tuesday. The government house confirmed on Sunday the agenda of his visit will last Sunday, next Friday, May 5, includes meeting with the head of the Spanish government, Pedro Sánchez, and King Felipe VI. According to the international media reports, in addition to his diplomatic agenda, he will address the Congress of Deputies and visit the Madrid City Hall. He also held a meeting with the Colombian community in Madrid, several events and meetings with international investors, and a conference at the University of Salamanca. According to official information, the visit has bilateral and multilateral significance and comes at a time when Spain is about to assume the presidency of the Council of the European Union. Costa Rican authorities reported 78 homicides in April, surpassing January as the most violent month so far in 2023. With only hours to go before the end of the month, a new record of the rates of violence has been registered in Costa Rica, surpassing the 73 reported in January. According to the reports from Judicial Investigations Agency, the recent murders occurred in the city of Orotina, where a 23-year-old young man was killed by 5 shots, while in the community of Pocosí, a 25-year-old man was killed. Finally, the number of murders exceeds the number of murders registered during the same period in 2022 by 89. Cuban authorities announced on Sunday that the May the 1st celebration across the nation are postponed to Friday, May 5, due to the weather conditions. The official statement based the decision on the weather instability that has caused heavy rains in several territories on Sunday and on the forecast for the coming hours. The official celebration has been now rescheduled to Friday, May 5. The note also announced that there will be a work recess on Friday so that all Cubans can participate simultaneously in the celebration parade throughout the country. The president of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel, confirmed that the news of his Twitter account highlighting that it's not a cancellation but a postponement of the activities, adding that on May 5 the call continues for Cubans to commemorate Labor Day. And let's take a short break, but first remember you can follow us on TikTok account at teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In Russia, authorities recorded several earthquakes in the vicinity of the Saudiled volcano in Kamchatka Peninsula. According to the Geophysical Service of the Russian Academy of Science, a total of 15 earthquakes were registered in a single day. In a third rounding of the volcano at the same time, they indicated that the volcano could spew ashes at 15,000 meters. It was reported that the tremors occurred at a distance of 80 to 90 kilometers from the locality of Ost-Kamchatsk, and the stronger of the registered quake had a 4.2 magnitude. Authorities urged the population to take safety measures in the view of the situation. In the United Kingdom, the nurses' union went on a strike after salary negotiation with the government failed. Health authorities say the strike is one of the largest joint actions so far, while warning patients about possible delays in the services during the strike. In this sense, the National Health Service and union leaders agreed to guarantee care in critical areas such as intensive care and trauma services. For its part, the British College of Nursing assured newborn and pediatric care will be provided to safeguard the lives in the citizens during the protest. In Ukraine, former Prime Minister Nikolai Azarov denounced that NATO was sending his country outdated or defective weapons in order to favor its own agenda. Azarov denounced that NATO continues to promote itself through its military aid to Ukraine, while in reality it is sending inoperable military equipment to the nation. As an example, the Ukrainian politician cited the 20 109 self-propelled howitzers that Italy delivered to Kiev this month, not a single one of which he said was combat-ready. The former official stressed that the United States has also failed to provide Ukraine's military with the long-range missiles and F-16s. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in an interview on Friday that the more weapons to the West supply to Kiev, the more lives will be saved. Moscow has repeatedly denied this, pointed out that the arms deliveries multiple casualties and delayed the end of the conflict. Pope Francis said the Vatican is involved in a peace mission to try the end to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. The Pope's announcement comes hours after Moscow claimed that its forces took control of 4 more urban craters in the frontline Ukrainian city of Bakhmut. The High Pontificate has pleaded for peace practically on a weekly basis since the conflict began a year ago, and has repeatedly expressed his wish to act as broker between Kiev and Moscow. The 86-year-old leader of the Catholic Church had said previously that he wanted to visit Kiev and Moscow on a peace mission. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has announced that Turkish forces killed the leader of the Islamic State terrorist movement, Abu al-Qurashi, during an operation in Syria. The MIT, National Intelligence Organization in Turkish, has been tracking the alleged leader of the Islamic State, Abu Hussein al-Qurashi, for a long time. He was neutralized yesterday in Syria. In an interview with the civil national media, Turkish leader said that the fight against terrorist organization continues without discrimination. This was the 4th caliph to head the Islamic State. On Sunday, a bus carrying military personnel in Turkey overturned in the district of Sirnak, local media reported. The country's Ministry of National Defense said 2 soldiers died and 4 were injured in the accident. The government agency stressed that 4 injured were transferred to the hospital for treatment. 5 fighters and medical and army teams were sent to the site of the accident. A statement from the Turkish Armed Forces expressed its condolences for the 2 head compatriots and wished a speedy recovery for the injured. Voters across Central Asia and Uzbekistan went to the polls Sunday in a constitutional referendum that could allow President Shavkat Mirziyoyev in a run again for office after 2 consecutive terms. The proposed change, including 27 more articles, together with an amendment that could renew, if approved, 65% of the Magna Carta. President Mirziyoyev said that the overhaul of the constitution will improve governance and quality of life in a landlocked country of 35 million people. According to figures from the Central Election Commission, over 19.7 million people were eligible to participate in the constitutional referendum in more than 10,000 polling stations opened nationwide.
Regarding labor standards, a very big innovation is being created. We can talk about gender equality. We know that pregnant women and women with minor children have faced problems such as layoffs, difficulty finding employment, and low wages. Our amended constitution will put an end to these problems.
The proposals in the referendum show a dialogue with the people. Our president has studied the shortcomings in the lives of the people, what they suffer from, what they lack, what innovations are needed to live happily. All of this is done based on the wishes of the people.
Vietnam commemorated on Sunday 48 years after the defeat of the United States imperialism. On June 1969, the National Front for the Liberation of South Vietnam, together with other political and social organizations, convened a Congress of Representatives from the South. This Congress gave rise to the creation of the Provisional Revolutionary Government of the Republic of South Vietnam, and which played a decisive role in the formation of revolutionary power in that area of the country. The end of the Ho Chi Minh campaign in April 30, 1975, marked the conclusion of a brilliant military operation by the armed forces and the Vietnamese people under the leadership of the Communist Party. As of the result of the campaign, the U.S. imperialism was defeated in what has been characterized as the greatest military and political disaster in history. teleSUR English continues to grow. You can now turn it in from 33 different African countries through StarSat. Dial 461 and enjoy our Latin American alternative broadcast. One final short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. Humanitarian assistance is still arriving in Syria from several countries to help the Syrian population overcome the aftermath of the war and recent earthquakes. In this regard, more than 2,070 tons of Russian humanitarian aid arrived aboard 10 planes, and the military and the Russian nation began to deliver them to those affected. In this regard, 5 tons of food, mainly rice, sugar, tea, milk, and oil, were delivered to the village of the town of Sanabarriyesh in the province of Latakia. The villagers of the town of Keleke in the northern province of Sueda also received a basket with food. For its part, Latakia Governorate received a new batch of aid offered by Pakistan and includes 24 containers of supplied and food. The Jordanian embassy disclosed that his country sent 10 trucks with humanitarian, medical, and food aid. According to the report of the Higher Relief Committee, the number of registered families left homeless due to the national disaster reached 29,794, with 14,304 individuals. In this context, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad urged to abandon trade in dollars and proposed to replace the U.S. currency with the Chinese Yuan. The Syrian leader said the war between the West, led by the United States and sovereign countries, is mainly economic, and said it is necessary to get rid of the shekels in the trading in the U.S. dollar. In a meeting on Saturday with the Chinese government's special envoy for Western Asia, Sai Hump, the Syrian humanitarian considered that this initiative has a greater future and will strengthen multilateral cooperation. Al-Assad added that the Chinese presence in the political and economic areas may rebalance the global situation, taking into account the Russian-Chinese relation and the BRICS alliance in terms of constituting a strong international space capable of creating a multipolar world order. In Yemen, a long-imprisoned general who was captured by the Houthis 8 years ago was released on Sunday. According to the mediator from the Abiyan Tarif, General Faisal Rahaba was freed by the Tawhid rebels following talks between Houthi representatives and members of Yemeni tribes. The tribe members traveled to Sana'a, Yemen's capital, that has been held for years by the Houthis, to negotiate Rajab's release after he was not involved in prisoner swaps between the Saudi-led coalition and the Houthi rebels early this month. Exchanges of hundreds of prisoners linked to Yemen's long-running war took place early this month, following a United Nations brokered deal.
I confirm from this place and on this day that we still have many leaders and many prisoners, and we are fully prepared to enter a comprehensive deal that does not exclude anyone if the other party is ready for it. We are serious about it, and we ask the United Nations to pressure the other party to implement what was recently agreed upon in Switzerland last month.
And Sudanese paramilitaries announced on Sunday a new truce extension for 72 hours. The so-called Rapid Support Forces informed on Twitter about the unilateral truce extension effective as of midnight this Sunday. The decision followed with international, regional, and local appeals to open human corridors, facilitate the movement of citizens and residents, as well as allow them to meet their needs and reach safe areas. The paramilitaries stated their strict commitment to the declared humanitarian truce and full ceasefire. Sudan has been the scene of clashes between the country's armed and Quiet support forces in April 15. According to the Sudanese Ministry of Health, the conflict has left more than 520 dead and some than 4,600 wounded. The extension of the truce comes at a time when the country's healthcare system is facing a critical situation as a result of the conflict. According to the head of Sudan's Human Rights Commission, Rafat Mirghani Ababs, hospitals are under fire because they have become the battlefield of both sides. The authority added that the medical staff are working in extremely difficult conditions, coupled with a lack of necessary medicines and obstacles to the movement of ambulances. And we have come to the end of this Brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I am Heidi Maurel. Thank you for watching.